How's it going, Laser Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to the letter. We're still snooping around the BRC offices here, but instead of looking for evidence, because we've done that, Isabella's now telling us that she lost her papa. So, prepare yourself for that. I know it's early in the morning, or whatever time you're watching this. It's early in the, or late in the, put your own time in there, slotted in right there. Let's do it. Within those scant few seconds, everything between us shifts as the gravity of her words sinks. Right then and there, something harsh and immovable rises between us. Death is something I'm familiar with. Almost 10 years in the police force, and it's impossible not to be acquainted with it. But this is different from those dead bodies we examined in forensics. A far cry from the victims we found on a bad investigation. Those I could easily distance myself from. No emotional attachments, no need for pretenses. Yet somehow I still find myself grasping for things to tell her, any words of comfort that'll dull the pain. Because even without looking at her, her grief feels palpable enough. Her pain, an immutable weight hanging over us. So gently I offer, tell me about him?
When?
Huh? When what?
Your dad. I mean, when did you find out?
She doesn't answer. Not immediately, anyway. For a long moment, the hush simply stretches out before us, spanning across the seconds we let pass, while we both simply stand there, waiting. Eventually she exhales, lightly muted enough that I might have missed it, had I not been paying attention to her every movement.
Yesterday, around 3 in the afternoon there, Mama called. She told me he passed away in his sleep, and I guess I can take comfort in that, huh? That Papa wasn't in any pain when...
And he'll be happy that he's not a burden on you anymore, forcing you to look after the entire family, I'm sure. She trails off, releasing another ragged breath hidden underneath her chuckles, each one mirthless, heavy with nothing but sorrow. Then she falters into silence, and for all my attempts at lightening her burden, I'm suddenly at a loss. Reassurances could only do so much when her only reason for staying there has suddenly been taken away from her. A hope yanked from under her feet, right after it was generously given. And without what? Without that? Without the one person who pushes her to endure? All of the shit we're going through, she's going through, means nothing but a struggle. What does one say to a person fraying at the edges, slowly wearing thin and breaking? Are words even enough? What right do I have anyway? I cannot give her anything apart from the lies that changed me as a person and affections she may or may not even want for herself. Because no matter how easy she has wormed herself into our lives, how immutable her presence has become, her own heart will always yearn for something else. For home.
Tell me about him.
Huh? About what?
Your dad. Tell me about him. Anything. Just talk. Say anything you want. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll listen.
Silence again, as if she's testing the weight of my question. For what purpose it is. For a reason even I can't say right now. After a while though she starts, reluctantly her voice hitching, faltering and stumbling on each syllable as she chooses her words. A rough start, but soon it steadies. And along with it, to keep company, the stories from childhood and memories she's fond of are the tears. Despite this, in spite of the grief choking her words off, the hurt closing her throat and the sobs racking her lithe form, she continues, like the mere act of speaking is a relief in itself. A release. She tells me of her father, the very person who named her, how she looked up to him, how she was a bit of a tomboy growing up in her attempts to imitate him, how the man encouraged her to pursue what she really wanted. Perhaps even the only thing she ever did for herself, having grown up not wanting anything more than food to put on the tables.
He told me I don't have to listen to them. That I can do what I want. Every day, he'd wake up at 4, Ash. Because he'd earn more that way. And every single time, he'd give them to me. Whatever extra he earned, he'd hand them all. So that I'd have something to use for my paintings. And you know what? Back home, just a good tube of paint costs almost as much as what we spend for food the whole day.
Jesus.
But he'd always set something aside. Told me he wanted to see my paintings in a museum one day.
She pours all of it out. Every little thing she loved him and admired about him. Like this, it's easy to see why she's gone through such great lengths for him. Why she abandoned her dreams, why she went against his wishes, just to grant him another chance at life. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is the whole truth either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it. See her. See someone earnest. Someone who has always meant well, despite her underlying stubbornness. This is how she loves. Warm, steadfast, unflinching. You never meet many people like her, not in my line of work, not with the kind of people I've had to deal with. Always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually when you run across too many of them, you change, you become like them. In many ways, for a lot of reasons, she's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be and be around with. Who made me feel I'm still worth something.
He didn't want me to leave. Said, begged that I should finish my studies first. In the end, I couldn't even grant him that one request. I'm a terrible daughter, aren't I?
Of course not.
You're not.
Huh?
You're not. I can't speak for your dad. I haven't even met the man. But I know you're not.
I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with this. The remark just came out. Now I'm stringing all these together as I go. But one thing is certain, none of what I'm about to say is a lie.
The Isabella I know is a total klutz, but I've never seen anyone work as hard as she does. She's the type who wears her heart on her sleeve. Though it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's always in the right place. She's intimidated by a lot of stuff, but she knows how to appreciate the smallest things in life. Frankly, you've caused us no small amount of trouble since you barged into our lives. But when I'm with you, all of my worries seem trivial.
Heat has already crept up my face. When the turn this whole thing is about to take registers. Before I blurt the rest of it out, declare feelings I'm not even ready to reveal to anyone, much less her, my hand comes up to smother the rest of it. Though embarrassment quickly takes the reins before I can completely clamp my mouth shut.
And I'm pretty sure Zach and Becca think the same way. You have a nasty way of growing on people like that, and you know what? We got everything we needed in here. I'll just wipe the security recordings and we're good to go. While I'm at it, you better wipe the snot off your face. And you don't look very nice when you're balding like that.
Hastily, I gather everything. The personnel files, client documents, sales agreements and contracts, anything my hands could reach. In record time, all of it has been stacked in a neat pile, ready for storage. I'm heading for the records room not a few seconds later. Wherever that is. It should be an easy find unless the place is a maze of some sort, which I highly doubt. Still beats staying here and seeing the look on her face. Crap. Really, her anger's still bearable. I can take that, including the glower she sends my way.
So, yeah, I'll go get the security videos and put these back where you pulled them from. Man, these are heavy, you know?
Ash, it's just paper. You don't even know where I...
Oh, no, I can handle this. Easy as pie. And, yeah, security cams, tapes, videos, cams. Yeah, I'm off.
Her rejection at this point? Maybe not yet. Getting the files back to BRC's archive room is a cinch. With the documents back in the proper places, I lock the door behind me, tugging it twice just to make sure. Now on to the next order of business. Removing the evidence of our little excursion in here, or at the very least, the parts showing that what we've been doing during the past hour. Can't have our faces plastered on security footage, showing us breaking the law, as it were. I'm going to have to wipe the data for Isabella's access card entries too. Surprisingly, finding their security room proves a breeze. What will be tricky is getting inside. The fact that no one has walked out during the whole time we've been in there means the room is either empty or the security sound asleep. I'm banking on more on the former. If they're cutting corners and firing agents, I have no doubt that they fired the guy stationed here. And if they have anyone watching the monitors in the first place. It's a rather common thing for establishments just to leave security recordings indefinitely, and only check the footage if something actually happens. Yep, all the places I've worked at have been like that. Just to check, I press my ear against the door, listening for any sign of anyone occupying the room. After a long minute, and nothing, I give the knob a few rattles.
Standard lock and key. Should be easy enough to pick.
We have a lockpick set, but they're only used if necessary and with a search warrant. Even then, it's a skill set rarely needed. Subtlety is not on a cop's priority if they have the authority to search the premises. Bolt cutters and brute force are the favoured methods. If those fail, we call a locksmith. Me, I prefer the good old hairpin trick when those options aren't available. Besides, they're easy to hide and store for emergencies. Running my hand through my hair, I pull a pair of bobby pins. 2 of these and I can just about open any standard lock. One makes the lever and the other makes the handle. I don't call it a complex skill, but it certainly takes time and a lot of practice to successfully pick a lock. Good thing I practiced with them for a bit in my college years. I learn more when they're accessible and standard issue for a law enforcement officer. A wiggle here, a click there, and I managed to seize all the pins in the locking mechanism soon enough. With a slight turn of the knob, the security room's ripe for the picking. The room's odour hits me first, a sharp, nauseating stench as if someone has accidentally spilled a gallon of bleach on the room. When was the last time they opened this place?
Ugh, this place smells awful. Jesus, it's worse than the forensics lab on a bad day.
There's Isabella. What's that big fog behind her? That's creepy. This is probably because of the badly botched effort to clean the place up. Even in the dark, I can spy dark stains on the walls. I really don't have time to try and play this. Is this ketchup or soda right now? But I have the strange gut feeling who this mess might belong to. As expected, no security personnel mans the office's CCTV controls. And the standalone DVR setup is open for anyone. Normally, I'd have a heap of things to say about this sloppy security setup, but right now, their negligence makes this whole task of erasing evidence easier.
No fuss, no muss.
The next one should be the access card data. Hopefully getting into their computer won't be too much of a hassle. Everything up till now has been smooth sailing. There have been hiccups, I'll give it that. Though it does nothing to dampen the good mood I'm in. Once I shift my attention to the machine sitting next to the DVR setup, all of it swiftly evaporates. I'm no computer buff, but I can definitely recognize one more than a decade old. Simply looking at it makes me feel younger. With a heavy sigh, I power it up, mentally preparing myself for a slow slug. Slow, apparently. Remains an understatement here. It takes a whole 3 minutes for the thing to start up. The OS hasn't even started loading. And in my boredom, I start inspecting the live feeds from the cams. Only 2 work. One for the view outside. Everything seems to be in order there. And the other for the main workspace where... It's a fleeting glimpse. A cursory glance, but the sight of it stops me. The image is a bit blurry, but standing right there, right in the middle of the room, by one of the cubicles, I can make out a form of a...
What the hell is...
I don't get too far into that line of thought. No few seconds after my words have slipped out, without any sort of warning, while I'm still trying to make sense of what it is, the figure moves. A moment of paralysis hits me when she stops right in front of the camera, like a damn rookie. I go still in the face of danger. I definitely haven't been trained to handle the supernatural, and this is one, isn't it? And... oh, fuck. Her eyes bore into me, the malice in them, piercing. Even beyond the screen, it's enough to make me go numb. Come on, man, she's 400 years old. She should know how computers and cameras and shit work. Only the mug crashing to the floor when my hand accidentally takes a swipe at it, snaps me out of the trance, reminding me that I'm not the only one here. Isabella. It seems she hasn't noticed anything. Am I the only one seeing this? In any case, whatever's happening, I have to get her out. Gathering my wits, I quickly reach for my phone. It takes all but 2 seconds before she answers, but there's no time for relief.
Ashton? Did you really have to call? We're practically on the same floor.
Get out of there.
What? What are you...
Out. Get out. I'll meet you in the elevator.
You're creeping me out, Ash.
Just get yourself out of that place, now!
Without a second thought, I back away from the controls of the room, ready to be done with this place. But before my foot even moves, she disappears. That's a pretty cool skill you got there. You've still got the glitchy stuff on your face too. Amazing. Instinct instantly takes over and my hand quickly reaches for my gun at my side. I need to meet empty air. A mistake that cost me a few precious seconds, while the paperwork I brought with me threatens to scatter everywhere at the same time. Gathering everything in myself once more, with no weapons to protect myself, my sense of self-preservation kicks in next and I lunge toward the door. I sprint across the office without daring to look back. Isabella's already waiting in front of the elevators by the time I make it out of their office. Worry creases her eyebrows up upon glancing at me, but I don't have time to answer the question in her eyes. As soon as I reach her, I grab her arm, practically throw the 2 of us into the open elevator and slam the button for the ground floor. A sigh of relief escapes from me when the elevator starts its descent. The clicking noise fades off into the distance. Beside me, Isabella shifts, moving the stack of papers under her arm while she takes in my appearance. Concerns in her eyes, though all I offer is a small gesture of my hand while I attempt to compose myself. Breathe. In. Out.
Why are we in such a hurry?
We need to get out of this place. Did you get everything?
Yeah, it's all here. But really, you don't look too good. What's wrong, Ash?
I'll be fine. I was in the security room. From the monitors, there was a fucking...
The rest of what I'm about to say dies on my tongue when the elevator stops and the doors open to... There's a moment's pause while we both take in our surroundings. Confusion's understandably there.
Oh, come on! They should just replace this whole thing!
No, I'm quite sure I pressed for the ground floor.
Right? But it's just as Isabella said, the elevator always did have problems when I visited in the past. Often she'd become so angry whenever we try to get to her floor, and she'll have to repeatedly smash the button for the elevator to even move. It was always good for a laugh. I wasn't too worried then. Now... From the distance beyond the light's reach, the noise echoes in my ears along with the rapid pounding in my chest. Isabella stiffens and her eyes grow wide with the sound. Gingerly, she reaches up to grab the hem of my sleeve and grips it, hard, tight enough for her fingernails to dig through. Her eyes search wildly for the source of the sound while I stand protectively in front of her.
Ash, did you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Anyone there? I can hear you moving from here. Show yourself.
No response. No response, only the soft sound of something scurrying around the floor and the walls in slow, deliberate movements, faint, though still audible enough in this hush. Until it stops. A moment.
We need to go, Ash. We have to.
And then... This time I'm certain it isn't my imagination. Against my training, my whole body freezes. Someone pushed the button on the elevator. Hands stilling the mid-press on the button, eyes growing wide while watching for any sort of movement from further back, and ears strained for the source of the sound. I can't even offer Isabella any reassurances, much as I hate to admit it. Dread has seeped into every nerve in my body. And the blasted elevator still won't work.
This isn't in my fucking training manual.
Just press the door close button.
Ash, we need to leave. I know that sound. Ash, please, get the elevator!
Another series of shuffling against the ground. Laughter, and all of a sudden she's just there. Like a twisted spider, she stares at us. A look of hunger in her eyes and venom in the twisted manner she smiles. A glee she has well earned. When we're damn flies that have been dropped right onto the spider's web.
Ashton!
Damn it!
Where is she? Without warning, she moves, mocking me with each unhurried crawl she takes, knowing I'm at her mercy.
Fucking hell!
Ashton, the door! The door!
Our lives are in the hands of a crummy elevator literally hanging between life and death. We're not gonna die here. Not in a damn elevator. Ah. 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 God damn it, I was too scared of pushing the turn off the recording button because it's right next to my numbers. I'm gonna switch to the numpad. Don't turn the recording off. Go. 48159 31769 549 32 17954. As if a divine power has heard me swearing up a storm in my head, the doors close just as the thing looms near. I really wish I could have used the numpad though. Soon the elevator, the blasted thing is heading up. Isabella's knees buckle in relief. In 2 ticks she's hugging herself without any care for the mess of papers and folders she's dropped on the floor in her panic. She draws in one ragged breath after another, each one brimming with nothing but relief. And this is the most I've been tried my whole damn life, not during training, when my superior first asked me to drop 100, not after a stakeout, but after smashing a fucking elevator button repeatedly. I slump to the ground beside her, worn out, but I don't let myself feel relief again, not until we're out of here. Isabella seems to be of the same mind as she looks at me. Still, I find myself sharing a shaky laugh with her.
We're okay. We're fine. Right?
Yeah, we're good. Alive.
Alive.
Fuck, we should have taken the goddamn stairs.
True. Twice I've seen it, thrice if I've included the party. Unless I'm tripping balls without realizing it, there's no doubt in my mind that this is actually happening. I don't want to believe it, but with the truth staring at me in the face, it'd be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, we hightail out of the building. Seb sounds asleep. Seems sound asleep when we pass by the station. However, in the face of what we've seen, everything I've faced tonight, we really can't care less who will see us on our way out. The sooner we get away from this place, the further, the better. I'm just not sure if that also means being safe. She almost got us, goddammit. The fucking thing almost had us. Shit, it was only by luck that we managed to get that fucking elevator unstuck. Excuse me, that was my fantastic skill and the fact that I had to retry. Had the blasted thing not worked in the last second. I need some air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ. Losing focus. With another person here, I can't afford that right now. Isabella hasn't said anything, but I know she's more shaken than I am. I can't lose it when another person's depending on me.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath and soon, I'm starting the engines and driving us off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped. Luxbourne Park brings a welcome relief. Though only by some. The chill that has seeped into my bones is still there, furling and unfurling underneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen, when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths. Just how many copies of that letter are there out there? Isabella can't have the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be the one she's shown us is just one of 5? Maybe even more. That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous, but at this point, is it still... All in all, we found 21 people who might have read the letter, 7 of them deceased, 8 if we count Cooper. And that's only with what we can find right now. We have no idea how the contractors and specialists hired from outside the company are doing, if they're any way affected. How many more people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still even blame the Wrights for this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a douchebag Luke Wright is. There's also that woman. How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Shit. Still so many things we need to look into, yet all my body wants to do is pace, burn out what excess energy there is still in me.
Ashton, I'm getting dizzy. Will you sit down?
No. It's the first time Isabella has said anything. She's been sitting quietly since we dropped here. Better and less distracting than watching her nervous habits, I suppose. She certainly seems calm now. Too calm, in fact, for someone who's just seen something terrible. But it's been more than a week for her already. People do get desensitized to things at some point. Even someone like Isabella. Who knows what's going on inside her head, though? Inside mine, there are too many, and none of them would sit still.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Jeez, shit. Shit. Isabella, please tell me that wasn't...
What I'm not expecting when I turn to her is mirth. One that she could barely contain.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm not quite sure what she sees in my face, but in the next second a laugh suddenly bursts out from her.
I'm so sorry. It's just that you should have seen the look on your face back there.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
What did you
Sure.
expect?
I'm not the one who's panicked. You almost ripped my arm off.
Yeah, but...
Isabella, this isn't funny. We could have ended up dead.
I know, I'm really sorry. But this is just too precious to miss. You really lost your shit for a moment there.
You're trying to get back at me, aren't you?
Well, I'm not the one who kept calling someone scaredy cat for years. How does it feel?
I'm not scared.
Really? Because it doesn't seem that way to me. At all.
I'm not, alright? I just don't know what to do right now.
Immediately after the moment passes, replaced by another tense silence. Laughter dies in her lips and as everything sinks in. We're in deep shit, and it's finally caught up and hit us like a ton of bricks. Hit me more than anyone. Because she's been warning us about this since day one, and I'm the first person who brushed it off. Despite that, she still reaches out to me, tugging at my sleeve almost desperately. Her hands are trembling, and there's a tremor in her voice when she speaks. Without the cheer, only fear remains. One that she's been burdened with from the beginning.
We're still going to do something about it. Right? Not just stand around and let that thing get us.
Unexpectedly, she leans her forehead against my arm, and her grip on my sleeve tightens. There's desperation in there, a quiet plea.
I don't want to lose anyone anymore, Ash.
I wish I could give her that promise, but with so many unknowns, so many things I don't understand about this, how could I? Why she still trusts that I could do something about this baffles me. It all feels wholly undeserved, considering the way I've treated her. Yet despite my reluctance, I find myself returning her hold in kind. A grasp, warm and light enough for comfort. Not a promise, but the closest thing to it. That did not go well at all. I mean, we got the evidence, I guess. That's something. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There is only fear. Once again her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles, the world slows to a stop. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colours. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that have driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness in my eyes. The early morning light already streams from the open windows when the memory sets in, and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She's hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head while she continues to rest. Then to the chaos of papers and folders we've left scattered over it before sleep has claimed both of us. We bunkered down here last night. After both our nerves had calmed down, mine for the most part staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us want to remain alone. When there's that woman. Is she still one in the first place? One we'd normally call a human? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck. I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about this still matters, when all our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing Daisy soon. I can't let that happen. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. At this, light against my hand when I reach for it. It has caught my eye the night before, but with the lot we still need to go through, I simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned at the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
I've only ever heard of her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She really goes about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It's been 5 years after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversation between her and Zach to know she's never given up on it. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound coming from a friend, I'd like to give her the chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring what the deal with this curse is, I'll do so. If only to see that smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moments she seems to show it is when she's asleep, like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. A smile of my own forms despite this, when I glance at her sleeping form again. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back down where I've gotten it, carefully so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in any way. And finally, push myself off my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her from the floor over to her bed, but doesn't wake, simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers I pull over her. Briefly though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after, like it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movement earlier, but the small smile on her lips remain. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about our problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing that I don't want to take away from her. A moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it after everything she's been put through. What I put her through. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. Cold Luxborn air meets me upon stepping out into the hallway. Not unusual in itself, this is what Luxborn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly dry with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. You are in England, right? I mean, that's what I hear it's like everywhere. The sky's still clear, but I'll give it a day or 2 before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rain for years despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world, but I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably what all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies throughout the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem. If I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see because I've since believed so, doing so is a show of weakness. Zach's probably right. Perhaps I've always been afraid that there's some damn truth to what Isabella's been saying, knowing I've no clue how to deal with it. And now, after it has stared me right in the face, I'm at a loss. Scared shitless, in fact.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What is Zach? What is Rebecca? Z-Man has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening around him these past few days. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me, the guy who knows stuff, according to him? In the end, all I've done is give him the brush off. Some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might prove an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do, when all of us lack any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She'll go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in better order. How to phrase this when there's 90% chance she's still pissed about the whole different matter. It's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. We'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking, once, twice, and 3 times, just to make sure she's heard me, even if she is asleep. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here. I guess in the next one we're going to be checking on all the peeps. We're going to check on Becca and maybe Zach. I don't know how that's going to go because we must be past that part in Zach's. Actually, can we check the timeline? Let's check the timeline real quick. Where are we right now? It doesn't say, does it? Is there a way to check what the date is right now? Right now? There's still undiscovered journal entries back here. Oh, here. A terrified Zaku went looking for Ash in an Ermengarde mansion, but to no avail. Spotted by Wright's butler, yeah. Okay, so that's near the very end. So we might still see Zach again, which might be nice. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for looking out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.